Stormtrooper is totally a bunch of dots. It's totally a bunch of badass dots. I was not going to open the package that came to my door. Holy crap. When was that? That was a while ago. Oh, I don't remember what it was. Because I recorded those other episodes a long time ago, and I uploaded them to YouTube, and I forgot to post them. So those are actually from like months ago. Okay, guys, real quick. What am I naming this shadow? First not terrible name wins. Dark Spot, okay. My favorite monster of the Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest series. I'm a fan of Drakies, and I'm a fan of Slimes. But if we can qualify it as a monster, that Schleiman tank is amazing. Can we count the Schleiman tank? The Schleiman tank is a castle that looks like a slime that is also a tank. Does anybody have skills? Tonberry does, but those are being saved. Yeah, metal slimes are pretty cool just because they're, like, shiny. They're not just cool for killing. They're easy on the eyes, as far as slime monsters go. Oh my gosh, there we go. Rock Bomb Shard. I can't remember. How did the Magician in Dragon Warrior 2 differ from the one in 1 and 3? The white cloak with an emblem on it? Oh, like the Mace Masters? Did he look kind of like the Mace Masters? Is that what I'm thinking of? Did he have that mask too? Link incoming! pull this up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. They did look like the evil clowns and Mace Masters. Oh, metal slime, metal slime, metal slime. Get him. Did I get him? Oh, God, we got two of them. What are we going to do? All right, well, first, we're going to switch you out. Yeah, he's wearing the metal claws. Neither of them ran. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, he didn't stand a chance. So good. Do I have any items that'll, like, speed him up? No. I have a rock bomb shard. I have a pinball. I feel that the pinball is kind of worthless at this point because if my Swarm Trooper does get a chance to attack him before he runs away, he's gonna kill it. Wait a minute, don't you have... Oh, no, you don't have it yet. Don't run. Damn it! Alright, we got one of them. So much XP. Buzz, let's increase your agility even further. Oh, so good. What substitutes gotta level up? Is there anything up here to actually gather, or is it just these Drake slimes? Just the Drake slimes. It was worth it for the metal. Oh, Earthbound would have been a great game to stream also. Actually, I would probably start with the first one. I have the first Mother game on the NES. Like, I have an actual English cartridge of it, reproduction. It looks so nice. Yeah, repro. Like, I made a case for it and everything. I also have a reproduction of that Legend of Zelda fan game. I forget the name of it. I'll say it out loud since I'm not recording the chat for those who watch this later on YouTube, but Borg is saying, someone did a fun poll on GameFAQs Squeenix boards. Which part 1 is better, Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy? Which part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10? You voted Final Fantasy 1, Dragon Warrior 2, 3, Final Fantasy 4, Dragon Warrior 5, FF6, FF7, Dragon Quest 8. Oh, that's hard for me. Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2. Dragon Quest 3 is one of the best Dragon Quest games, and I think that Final Fantasy 3 is one of the best Final Fantasy games, so I can't really... I don't know. Yeah, I like the Japanese 3. I liked it back when it was on the Famicom, too. Oh, why do I still have my Swarm Trooper out? We want Zen getting XP. Man, I don't know. See, I haven't played Dragon Quest 6 yet, so I can say right now I'm going to say Final Fantasy 6 instead of DQ6, just due to my not having played DQ6. I can't decide between the threes, between the two games. Dragon Quest 4, definitely over Final Fantasy 4. Dragon Quest 5, easily beating out Final Fantasy 5. I did not care for Final Fantasy 5 at all. Final Fantasy 6 was incredible. Dragon Quest 7, definitely over Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 is not a bad game, but I feel it's heavily overrated, and I feel that Dragon Quest 7 is hugely underrated. Dragon Quest 8 definitely beating out Final Fantasy 8. Even though I like Final Fantasy 8, I have to say that Dragon Quest 8 is one of the better games, is probably the best Dragon Quest game. Final Fantasy 9, I feel, is better than Dragon Quest 9. 10s? Oh, Dragon Quest 10, without a doubt, way better than Final Fantasy 10. You agree? Agree with which part, Crest? I was just kind of like, I was zoned out for a moment. I didn't see when you said agreed. FF9 over DQ9? Yeah. And that's a weird one, too, because Final Fantasy 9 and Dragon Quest 9 are probably like the most debated games within their respective series. Like, you either love them or you hate them, regardless of whether or not you're a fan. You didn't kill me over saying Dragon Quest 4 is better than Final Fantasy 4. Sheer greatness all the way, storyline you've ever read, balanced party. Oh, I totally am going to have to disagree with you, dude. I felt that Final Fantasy 4 was the most over-dramatic, childish soap opera that Square Enix has pushed out up until Final Fantasy X. I said it. What do you mean before 4 there was nothing? Nothing like that in writing. I will give 4 this. That was the first video game that ever made me cry. When Palom Emporum died, holy crap. I think I mentioned that on my marathon stream, too. Like, that broke my heart. Oh, man, we have more beast slimes up here. What's up, beast slimes? I have these drake slimes swooping at me, and they're not actually hitting me. Yeah, Sasuke makes a good point. The characters were like sacrificing themselves left and right in Final Fantasy. They were so eager to die. Oh, I should have healed Bojangles. Please don't die, Bojangles. Hang in there. That is a really slimy tiny slime. If he survives this round, we'll scout him. Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. Hamtaro just needs one more point, and then we'll get attack boost 2. Which lizard? Hamtaro? My Jargon? Dude, Jargon's a beast. I love Jargon. I'm going to be kind of sad to see him go. But we need that Boreal Serpent for the challenge quiz thing. And it'll also unlock attack boost 2 for us, so it'll be worth it. Yeah, you can get a Dragurn pretty easily. In fact, I think I might be able to make a Dragurn with a Boreal Serpent. That's probably wrong. I'm probably like way off with that assumption. Healy Mark II is out of magic points again. Oh, your comment about Final Fantasy IV being the first thing written like that, the first video game that was that dramatic. I'm trying to think of something that came before it. I can't do it right now. When did Phantasy Star 2 come out? Did Phantasy Star 2 come out before or after Final Fantasy IV? Can I explain the Phantasy Star series greatness? Oh, how to put it into words. I'm seriously at a loss for words trying to explain how amazing Phantasy Star is. Well, first of all, the first 4 games in the series are cohesive, storyline-wise. They all take place within the same universe, and they take place one after the other. There's like several generations in between them, but they all talk about the previous entries to the series. And Phantasy Star 4 is just this wonderful way of tying them all together into one massive story. So the strong ties between Phantasy Star 2 came out 2 years before Final Fantasy 4. So yeah, I'm going to say Phantasy Star 2 was written fairly dramatically. And yeah, 2 years before Final Fantasy 4. Thank you, Crast. If you haven't played the Phantasy Star series, they are amazing games to get into. 3 is kind of weird to recommend because you'll either love it or hate it. I feel that 2 is a great game, but the difficulty curve on it is crazy. 3 is kind of weird. A lot of people remember 3 as being the bad one in the series, and I think that the only thing that 3 really suffers from is that it was too different from the other games in the series. They were being very experimental with it, but they did some really cool things with it. Phantasy Star 3, Generations of Doom, was the first game that introduced generational play, where at the end of your character's plotline, you would actually choose a bride, and then the story would pick up 16 to 20 years later where you're playing your child. And it did this a couple of times throughout the game, and there's actually 4 different endings depending on the family tree that you create. So it was a very ambitious game for its time, and the story is way ahead of its time. Sadly, though, the gameplay and the translation are just kind of out there. So it gets kind of a bad rap just because it doesn't feel like it fits in with the rest of the series, but Phantasy Star 4 does a great job of tying Phantasy Star 3 into the main series. Phantasy Star on the DS. Oh, Phantasy Star Zero. The controls are a little bit wonky on that. Having said that, it is still one of the better Phantasy Star games. Like, once you get past the goofy controls and how uncomfortable it can be to play on a handheld system, it's actually quite a gem. Was I one of the people who got into the Phantasy Star craze with a landline phone in 1999? Yes, I still have my VMU with my Dreamcast character save. You reached the dragon and couldn't beat it in Phantasy Star Zero. Yeah, Phantasy Star Online and Phantasy Star Zero and Phantasy Star Universe are all known for having huge boss monsters that focus more on playing defensively than they do on just beating them up. The big thing about Phantasy Star Zero is learning how to dodge the bosses first. Bosses are dealt with in more of a Monster Hunter manner, where it's a battle of attrition. You avoid the monster, and then you get in your hits when you can, and then you do a lot more avoidance. When did Phantasy Star Online go offline for the Dreamcast? I can't remember. You can still actually play it online for the Dreamcast through private servers, though. Private servers will allow the Dreamcast to connect to it. You could also play Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2 for the GameCube or the Xbox. Is Bojangles dead? When did he die? I missed it. Oh, I have a Yggdrasil leaf. I don't want to... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to Magic Elixir Healy, who's going to zing Bojangles. Wild Slime hit 110. See, I'm focusing too much on talking to you guys, not paying enough attention to keeping Mr. Bojangles alive. I'd like to blame you guys, but I really can't. Phantasy Star Portable for the PSP is pretty solid. And that's because they fixed a lot of the issues that Phantasy Star Universe had. Phantasy Star Universe is probably the worst game in the series, if you don't want to count the awful Game Gear games. I don't want to say awful. They're the worst in the series. Each of the Game Gear games for Phantasy Star had like really weird issues holding them back. Phantasy Star Gaiden suffered from an incredibly high encounter rate, so it was really just a chore to play. And then Phantasy Star Adventures was kind of like Myst. And it never made its way over here. There is a translation online available. You can beat the game in like half an hour. And it's okay. It's kind of a side story to what's happening in Phantasy Star 2. Phantasy Star 1 is on the Master System, but you can also get it on Steam. You can also get it on the Game Boy Advance, although I would avoid the Game Boy Advance version of Phantasy Star 1. It's very buggy, and unfortunately it's buggy when it comes to saving your data. So Game Boy Advance version is the one to avoid. Wii Virtual Console, yes, also has Phantasy Star 1, and Phantasy Star 2 came out on the Genesis. Phantasy Star 2 is available on the Virtual Console as well, and it's also on Xbox Live. I think that one might have also made its way to Steam. Sega's done a really good job of supporting their old games on Steam. Is there like... Oh, that's the way it came up. If you were to get into Phantasy Star, I would definitely say start with the first and bring graph paper. Phantasy Star 1 is more concrete, like Dragon Warrior 2, where each of the characters that you'll wind up getting in your party have a set job within the party. You've got Alice, who is essentially a hero class. She does a little bit of everything. You've got Meow, who is this, I forget what his species is called, but he's a cat-like creature. And he's kind of like your monk. He gets access to a couple of claws during the game, and he does pretty high melee damage. Odin is your ranger slash heavy hitter type. He can use the biggest and strongest weapons in the game, and he can also use shotguns, which do AoE. And then there's Lutz, who got translated as Noah for some bizarre reason in the first Phantasy Star. And he's your spellcaster. Yes, there is first-person dungeon crawling in Phantasy Star 1, and it is dizzying because there's nothing to the dungeons to really, like, the walls all look the same, the corners all look the same, so it's very easy to get lost, which is why I suggested earlier bring graph paper. I never played Arcana, Borg. Kitsune, the trick to enjoying Joker lies in community. There are a bunch of people who still play Joker 2 on the Dragon's Den that you can hook up with to play with. It really just helps to have people to play against to make a game like Joker 2 better. Trying to train up monsters so you can get the special ones online in the World Monster Scout Challenge is also fun. Oh, we got surprised. Hoping to find that zip portal soon. Stop! Oh my god. The entire team is paralyzed.